may have heard the youngins saying these days. You may have heard, okay, boomer. Heard that one yet? So this is a very sarcastic clapback moment, and it's meant to be directed at baby boomers. And it's now getting a lot of pushback from people who say, gosh, that is disrespectful. So, okay, boomer, just kidding. Is that phrase offensive to anybody?
Sit down. Okay, wait a minute. So can I just say, someone did say to me just the other day, okay, boomer. And
just like that?
Just like that, and I thought, oh, I've never heard that before. I'm not sure if I'm offended. I wasn't sure, so I took a moment and I thought about it. I went, oh, yeah, by the way, I am. and I went, what do you mean by that? And they went, well, you know, you like to do this and you like to do that, and it's all about money and da-da-da-da-da. And
they know you're a financial business commentator.
and clearly I like to talk about money. You know, my children would bring someone home on a date and I'd say, so how industrious are you and where do you see your future? Date one. Like I did. But what I will say is that before you say, okay, boomer, you know, you may find talking about money just, you know, a little distasteful, but there is going to be a huge transfer of wealth from the boomers to that next generation. So I think it always comes back to money for me, always, but I do think it's worthy of a conversation to say, okay, here are some of the values. These are the choices we made. They may not be yours, but your legacy isn't just about the money. It's about who you are and what you did and that sort of thing. So I'm in the camp a little offensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking, you know, back in the day, if I were to say something like that, okay, boomer, to my West Indian parents.
Okay,
you know,
Marcy?
Can you
imagine?
Honestly, it would not have gone well. But I do agree, Patty. I find it disrespectful, and it cuts off conversation immediately. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, boomer, don't want to hear from you. And we need more conversation, and we need more listening going on, and we need it both ways. I think that boomers, you know, could listen a lot more to millennials and to younger people and what they have to say, because they've got some interesting viewpoints, and the other way around too.
It's interesting you say that, because Sheila on Facebook wrote in and said, after years of criticizing, dismissing, and disdaining millennials, one remark has boomers in a raging tizzy. And I follow, this Gen Xer is highly amused. Sheila, thank you for that. I love that.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I feel like that no matter what, whatever, there's always been statements. Every generation, including the boomer generation, thought that the older generation was
Screwed things up.
Yeah, or they screwed things up, or they didn't get it.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're perfect.
It's
There's no
cyclical.
close,
No, but I think, I think it's cyclical, no matter what. I think it's the job of people who are the youth to question the generation that came before. In my day, it was just like, whatever. Like, that was the dismissive thing. Whatevs, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it's the job of that next generation. Somebody threw this out to somebody I know who was not a boomer. Like, so they just were like, okay, boomer, but that person is like a Gen Xer. So they got it wrong anyway. And then the thing is that they didn't even really know what it meant when they were saying it. And all I said to that person afterwards was like, you know what? We're all going to be old one day. You're going to be old.
I just want to call it, we're all going to be more mature. There's a maturity.
Of course.
You know what? I understand what you're saying. I also got, okay, grandma. But I am a grandma, so I'm okay with that. But I'm just saying.
And was it coming from your grandkids?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
Okay. That's a bit much.
But I do. But the only thing I will say in that person's defense very quickly was the question I was asking was about technology, and they did kind of have a right to say it to me, because my technology skills are getting there, but they're not quite as savvy as some.
Interesting. But I feel like if you're a millennial, and I am not a millennial, but I feel like how long can you take, oh, you just, like, you guys are self-centered, you guys don't, you'll never have or understand what it is to have a full-time job. Like, millennials have been really getting it for a long time. I'm sure we're guilty of it up here sometimes, too, where it's like, you know, how much avocado toast can you actually eat? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a certain point where the millennials get to push back to be like, well, what did you leave us? You left us this wonderful environment. Like, you start to look, and there are some reasons why they say that. I don't necessarily think it's offensive, but I haven't heard it my way yet. I already get upset when someone's like, hello, ma'am. I'm like, how dare you say ma'am? Who's Yes, ma'am.
Oh, but what I will
Man.
say, there was an article in Forbes just this week, and they talked about the millennial changing the landscape. They're changing the financial services industry. They're thinking about saving for retirement. They are not frivolous. And I will tell you that they are staying at home longer, so they will get their revenge, you know? I'm just saying,
Wow.
my children threaten every once in a while, and they're on their own. But what I will say is that they can possibly retire based on the money that they've accumulated in their 30s and 40s. So before we sort of wipe out a whole demographic, you know what? They've got a lot going for them.
Yeah, wow, there it
Wendy
is.
on Facebook, I've got to get this in. Here's what Wendy says. I don't like the term. It's very disrespectful. The people that use it obviously don't know the history of why we are boomers. And it's a lot of millennials that use it. At least we don't eat Tide Pods because someone on a computer told us to. Okay. Okay, Wendy.
I like Wendy. I like Wendy.
Just leaving it out there. Getting Wendy's words in.
Wow, Wendy.
Wendy.